Everybody, Jason Burmis here, and to really emphasize how what we're seeing through all facets of our current ridiculous reality, that transhumanism is the push. And what we're seeing right now is a bridge between human beings, free human beings that still have some cognition, might even believe in an afterlife, a soul, have some morality, into those human beings being absorbed by technology and enslaved by technology instead of letting technology empower it, as more and more automation comes in, because the track trace database society has already been put into place, at least here in the Western world. Already 100% here. Track trace database is over with. It's time to expand it so that there are social consequences for these actions, and you get ready to be replaced by the automation that they will put at your side in the beginning. Okay? And at the end of it all, you're not really that necessary. And we're seeing that in the military as well. So what HoloLens is, and what we're going to be discussing, is actually pretty old technology. Now, don't get me wrong, it's souped up for military grade, but all these technologies have been around. It's almost like they're now putting it into one piece, like your cell phone, and for the military specifically. And when we talk about HoloLens and we talk about Microsoft, you have to understand they tried to get people to commercially accept a similar device over 6-7 years ago now. Remember Google Glass? Remember how bad that was the push? How much wearables were the push? The best that they got was kind of this niche market that wears the smartwatches, myself included. But with the military, there's a lot of aspects to HoloLens that are really, really important because, again, you can use technology to empower human beings or enslave them. And certainly these devices, for now, will empower the military in missions, but it will also train them to become avatars of eventual machines and then be replaced entirely. Okay? So, before we get there, I want to remind everybody, we are on the Rockfin. Who knows how much longer we're going to be on YouTube? I don't know. It's funny because the WHO was tweeting about the forbidden drug that I have 2 strikes against and kind of making some concessions. Not enough concessions, but I'm wondering if I send those tweets to YouTube, can I get those 2 strikes back? Is this now acceptable now that the WHO is talking about the I word? That's another video. We're going to talk everything COVID-1984 in another video, although this does integrate. So make sure you make at least the free account. If you want to financially support me, Rockfin is a great way to do it. Thumbs the video up and subscribe. Share the channel. Again, we got 2 strikes. I don't know how much longer we're going to last. Odyssey under full attack. Thank you for backing up my YouTube channel. And now they are going to have to fight the SEC. Facebook, not going to have to fight the SEC. I mean, Facebook taking down an interview of the former president and his daughter-in-law because it's the former president should let you know, man, overboard. But again, since all these tech companies, including Microsoft, which we're going to get to, are simply extensions of the media military industrial complex, what did you expect? That's why these hearings are nothing more than milquetoast bullshit hours, okay, where they don't address the real issues. So let's get right into this new military industrial complex contract. Microsoft is supplying 120,000 HoloLens-based headsets to the U.S. Army. Could be worth up to almost $22 billion over 10 years. I expect it's going to be worth a lot more than that. Microsoft has won a contract to supply the U.S. Army with HoloLens-based headsets. The contract could be worth up to $22 billion over 10 years, CNBC reports. That will likely involve Microsoft supplying these headsets. The software maker has been working closely with the Army since 2018, and soldiers have been testing the Integrated Visual Augmentation System, IVAS, headsets over the past 2 years. These devices combine high-resolution night, thermal, and soldier-borne sensors into a heads-up display. So again, if you're familiar with Google Glass, it's like that on steroids. If you've played any kind of video games where you have a visor headset, if you're familiar with the Metroid series, for instance. I was just playing an old school Star Wars game where you are the basically the clones, right? You're one of the super clones before the Republic is completely dissolved and before you're fighting the rebel army. So that's the type of things these people are seeing. And by the way, I want to say thank you for some of the tips over on Rockfin. Logan Yates says, keep it up, although I'm sure it's beyond exhausting sometimes. But again, I'm in a place called reality. We have to know this. Oh, thank you so much, Jeff Brady. I just priced a HoloLens on Amazon. It's almost $6,000 and only 2 were available. Well, I'm sure also with these, they're going to be specialized, and I doubt that they're going to get some kind of a real bulk deal. Okay, again, with military spending and the infinite bottom on black projects alone, right? So this is kind of antiquated technology in the sense that they have way more high-level stuff, but this is what they want in the public arena. This is what they want to train the military with. And eventually, have these people have these for avatars, much like you saw in the film, only instead of, blue biological beings, they will take hold, at least at first, of robots. The system also leverages augmented reality and machine learning. To enable a lifelike mixed reality training environment so the close combat force can rehearse before engaging any adversaries. Okay, in February, the Army revealed how a newer, more ruggedized version of the heads-up display can let operators of armored vehicles see through the walls, for instance, of a Bradley fighting vehicles. Again, with the heads-up display, if you can connect via Bluetooth or Wi-Fi or another type of wireless method to the camera that's on the front, that's another possibility. Hence that avatar mode that we're talking about. And we have to remember that this is just an extension of what we've been doing with drone technology for a long time, of, somebody miles and miles away watching, a screen somewhere is on a remote control controlling them. You understand? Okay, let's see. An earlier version was criticized for poor sensor and GPS performance, but you can see that the design has now changed quite a bit. And there they are, the headsets. Microsoft initially won a $479 million contract to supply the U.S. Army with a version of its HoloLens augmented reality headset back in 2018. It was a move that was met with fierce resistance from some Microsoft employees, forcing CEO Satya Nadella to respond. The calls did not stop the U.S. Department of Defense and Microsoft from working together on this new headset, though. And let me talk about that for a second. When you get down to the grassroots level of programmers and people like you and me, the people that are just in it for a pension, for a career, for thinking they were doing something cool, right? Involved with technology, not thinking that they were going to empower the military industrial complex. Well, we've seen this before. And then you see people like Matt Gaetz, by the way, and I'm not even going to get into all the sex scandal stuff. I don't know where it's going. I haven't seen the evidence. But I specifically remember Matt Gaetz complaining that employees of Google were upset at the drone programs that they were involved in and protesting those drone programs because they could probably not only see that it was going to be used for overseas, but for the Western world as well, which we're finding out more and more daily. Okay? And then Gates gets up there and beats his chest It's like Google will work with China on defense, but not us. No, you don't understand, Gates. It has nothing to do with just China. Okay, this is for all of us. This is the new world order. It's not a new normal. It's a great reset agenda. That's just repackaged NWO garbage. Okay, so you have these employees standing up, not wanting to do HoloLens, but you're always going to find scabs, and you're always going to be able to pressure people. I mean, if COVID-19 84 hasn't made you realize that, the people turn real quick when you say, oh, maybe you're not going to have a job. Excelsior pass. I mean, again, we'll do a whole COVID-19 84 bit, but that'll be later today. So you have that idea with Microsoft. I also want to reiterate that many, many, many moons ago, and maybe I'll find that report. I know it's somewhere, but maybe I'll find that report. I did a report on Microsoft working with the U.S. military with the Kinect, right? And this is before, like, everybody had a cell phone or an iPhone in their pocket. A lot of them had the flip phones, don't get me wrong, but definitely not the smart devices. They weren't as big. But to put, like, a camera, several cameras, in people's living rooms then was a big deal, right? Because smart televisions weren't as big then either. And I did a whole piece on it. So this isn't new. These companies, there's a reason the SEC goes after Library, aka Odyssey, and not after the Microsofts of the world, or they back off. And that's 20 plus years ago, right? Or the Googles, the Twitters, the Facebooks. It's because they're an extension. You get it? You understand? Microsoft has worked closely with the U.S. Army over the past 2 years and together has pioneered soldier-centered design to enable rapid prototyping for a product to provide soldiers with the tools and capabilities necessary to achieve their mission. Bum, bum, bum. And again, this is the bridge. This is the gap. This is getting you used to obeying orders, not questioning things, being side-by-side technology that they're acting like is going to empower you. You'll own nothing and you'll be happy and everything will be delivered by drone, right? And meat's not going to be for you other than, a tasty treat every once in a while. And the UBI agenda is part of that. Again, making you feel like you don't matter. We don't need you anymore. And then you got, pieces of filth like Eric Schmidt bragging about it in books like this one. Okay? Eric Schmidt, Jared Cohen, The New Digital Age. And then also at the same time saying, don't worry, the Davos elite will be fine. The highly educated. Oh, the highly educated. No. Those who are from generational bloodlines, or those that have been sociopathic enough to serve a predator class and social climb into the arena. Well, I'm not one of those people, and if you're watching this, I'd assume you're not either. So, look, this is a story we got to keep our eye on. We've got to fight back against this type of thing. We've got to fight back against robot dogs in New York City. We've got to fight back against defund the police. We've got to fight back against digital passports and medical martial law. It's that simple. So, guys, thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. Remember, all my documentary films, they are free right here in the playlist section. Shade the Motion Picture, Invisible Empire, A New World Order to Find, Fabled Enemies, and Loose Change Final Cut. And Rockfin. We're almost at 14,000 followers. Can we get 14,000 followers today? Can we do it? Because, again, there's a lot of stuff being said on Rockfin I can't say on here. And what we'll do is we'll do a COVID-19 84 update simultaneously. And then the second half of that video, when I get to say what I want to say, that'll just be on Rockfin. Guys, it's not about left or right, conservative, liberal. Those things are more of a joke than ever. It's about right and wrong and telling the truth no matter what. I love you guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.